Okay, let's be honest. Nobody thought Meghan Markle's Netflix cooking moment would be the thing that might ruin her brand. You know, watching this whole mess unfold was super interesting because it made me realize Meghan Markle probably doesn't have many real friends. Nope, she doesn't, and she seems like the most nervous person I've seen in public in forever. But that's exactly what's going down. What was meant to be a cozy, relatable cooking scene turned into a huge online disaster. It wasn't just a kitchen mistake, it was the whole kitchen setup. Everything looked off, not messy or busy or real, just weird. The kind of weird you get when you try too hard to seem like you're not trying at all. Imagine this. Meghan standing in a super clean, all-white kitchen that looked more like a store display than a real home. Not one smudge on the fridge, not one fingerprint on the counters. It was so perfect people joked, it looked like she was cooking in a rented Airbnb, not her own house. Oh, by the way, I love your look. Sorry, what? Your look? You look awesome. My look? My look. She likes my look. Anyway, that was just the setting. The real trouble started when she picked up a knife. As soon as the video went live, social media blew up like a Christmas tree. Not with cheers, oh no, this wasn't a "you got this" moment. It was a total roast. People couldn't stop talking about how Meghan held her kitchen tools like they were strange objects, like she was trying to cut fruit for the first time while watching a silent YouTube video. Even worse, the ingredients just showed up out of nowhere. No opening packages, no ripping bags, not even a clip of her grabbing stuff from the fridge. Everything was already measured and placed in those tiny glass bowls that screamed TV fakery. It didn't feel like cooking. It felt like an ad for a pricey juicer. Then Megyn Kelly jumped in, and things got wild. The famous journalist didn't just point out Meghan's cooking skills or the set. She totally ripped it apart like a sharp knife through a mushy avocado. On her podcast, Kelly made fun of the super clean setup, the stiff way Meghan talked, and the creepy perfection of the whole thing. I woke up at 5 a.m. when it came out. It started streaming at 3 a.m. And Megyn, within 10 minutes, I was bored and fell asleep. It was so dull. I love watching bad shows for fun, but this wasn't even that. Kelly said Meghan wasn't sharing her real life. She was trying to sell a fake lifestyle where food magically gets ready, clothes stay perfectly white, and not one crumb dares to fall. Honestly, that hit hard because it was true. The more you looked, the clearer it was that this wasn't about food. It was about control. Meghan wasn't showing how she lives. She was showing how she wants people to see her. That planned effort showed in every second. The fake smiles, the forced laughs, the lines that sounded like she practiced them a dozen times. People noticed fast. Memes went crazy online. Someone edited a clip of Meghan sprinkling salt on a banana. Another showed her holding a cookbook upside down. Hashtags like Duchess of Delusion and Mars Stage Sussex were trending for hours. And through it all, Megyn Kelly kept saying, Meghan isn't relatable, she's playing a part and doing it badly. What made it worse was that Netflix bought into this act. They were promised something real, a peek into Meghan's actual life. Instead, they got a scene that felt like fruit, arranged by a crew wearing gloves. Nothing real, nothing warm, just bright lights, planned moves, and a duchess trying hard to seem like she's just like us while standing far from anything real. The worst part wasn't the fake ingredients or the showroom kitchen. It was the vibe. That's what people felt. You know when something just seems wrong? That's what viewers picked up on. Meghan wasn't just pretending to cook. She was pretending to be someone she's not. On camera, you can't hide that. The scene looked like an ad for a fancy lifestyle magazine. No stress, no mess, no sign that real life happens there. No kids running around, no dog barking, not even a slightly burnt piece of toast. It was a version of being a mom and homemaker that only exists on Pinterest or in fancy catalogs. The internet wasn't okay with it. What hurt more was how out of touch it felt. Meghan's whole brand is about being relatable, a mom who does it all, a woman like us. But there she was, making fruit platters that looked like museum art while talking about her busy mornings. You know, watching this unfold was so interesting because it showed me Meghan probably doesn't have real friends. Nope, none. And she seems like the most insecure person I've seen in public in a long time. One clip had her saying this is how she makes breakfast while getting her kids ready for school. Perfect coffee, fancy fruit skewers, and a perfect smile. People watching were like, "Lady, you think we believe this is your Tuesday morning?" The backlash grew fast, not because people hate cooking shows, but because they can spot fake from a mile away. Nowadays, people want real stuff. Messy counters, crying kids, a burnt omelet or two. That's what people relate to, not a duchess whisking eggs in a spotless white outfit without a single drop on her sleeve. Then came the inside scoop. Word got out that even Netflix bosses weren't happy. The segment was supposed to be close up and real, showing true moments in the kitchen. Instead, it was fake, overly polished and empty. One insider called it emotionless and fake-looking. Another said Meghan wanted control of everything, the lights, the bowls, even the final edits. It was less like a real story and more like royal propaganda with a whisk. Megyn Kelly said out loud what Netflix was probably whispering. This wasn't storytelling, it was staging. Instead of connecting with people, Meghan was trying to impress them. But instead of admiration, it got her laughed at because nobody wants to feel like they're being sold a lie, especially not one that's supposed to feel personal. People looked closely and compared the kitchen in the segment to older videos of Meghan's real kitchen. The differences were obvious. This wasn't the cozy, lived-in Montecito vibe. It was a shiny, rented space made to look homey. Even the props, the perfect fruit bowls, the untouched stove, looked like they came from a hotel buffet shoot. Her words didn't help. Meghan's lines sounded too practiced. Her laughs felt timed, like someone added a laugh track later. She spoke in short clips made for Instagram, not real talk. It felt like she was auditioning for a brand deal, not inviting people into her life. That's what it came down to, being real or not. People didn't need perfect cooking, they just wanted something honest. But Meghan gave them the opposite, and instead of fixing her image, she gave her critics everything to tear it apart. The damage wasn't just online chatter. It hit her credibility hard. Meghan's attempt to rebuild her brand with this cooking segment wasn't just a bad idea. It turned into a huge blow to her reputation. People didn't just laugh. They started questioning everything she's been selling for years. The relatable duchess, the everyday mom, the down-to-earth humanitarian. It all started to look like one big act. That's where Megyn Kelly's words really hit. She didn't attack Meghan personally or with gossip. She pointed out the gap between image and truth. Kelly said Meghan's real life includes a lighting crew, scripted moments, and a backup fridge for perfect visuals. She called it fake, not real, and most people agreed. Even some longtime fans admitted the cooking show felt empty. It wasn't the first time Meghan's tries at being relatable failed. Her Spotify podcast flopped, her kids' book was a dud, and now this kitchen mess. Each project follows the same path: big launch, weak content, and then it falls apart when people look closely. This time, though, the visuals made the failure impossible to miss. It's one thing to read a bad review. It's another to see someone awkwardly pretend to cook in a setup so controlled it looks like a sci-fi lab. You can't unsee the lifeless vibe or unhear the flat words. Once people feel that disconnect, they don't forget it. The memes weren't just jokes, they were opinions. Edited photos of Meghan cooking with food she never touched, clips slowed down to show her flinching with a knife, parodies of her fruit setups popping up on TikTok. It became a big joke, a warning about what happens when someone mixes up control with connection. Behind the scenes, pressure is growing. Netflix has been called out for spending tons on celebrity projects while fewer people watch. Platforms are starting to rethink who they bet on. If Meghan was once a sure thing, that shine is fading. Her content was supposed to give a special look into her world. But if that world feels fake, why would anyone keep watching? There's also a bigger impact. Every time Meghan starts something new, it's called a comeback, a fresh start, a chance to show the real her. But with each flop, that promise means less. People start to expect fakeness. That's a bad spot to be in, where people think you're pretending before you even talk. It invites tougher criticism. If she's faking something as simple as breakfast, what else is fake? The lifestyle, the message, the activism? It all starts to look planned, not lived. No matter how good the production is, people can tell when something's off. At its heart, this wasn't a cooking fail, it was a trust fail. Meghan didn't need to be an amazing chef. She just needed to be honest, to show her messy side, to own a bit of chaos. That's what people connect with. Instead, she gave a polished act in a lifeless kitchen, and people checked out emotionally right away. Now the question isn't whether Meghan can cook, it's whether she can win back the public's trust.